Lives. I recently watched the last video that John Doyle made, and he had some points that were pretty good. You know, I don't agree with everything that dude says, but he also said some things that I've also been thinking. I just one of the things that I was going to point out is that conservatives really means nothing nowadays. It just means that you are one facade, or you are one side of the neoliberal coin, if that's one way of explaining it. When it comes to liberalism, especially the way it's been seen as now, it's nothing more than just some aesthetic, topical, you know, it's all surface level things. So if you're a conservative, you're more likely to, you know, not be offended by certain things, but you will be offended by another bunch of things. So you catch my drift. Liberals are going to be more offended by stuff of race. They'll be offended by, like, you know, your politics on the border. They'll be offended by, you know, your take on religion. They'll be offended by all kinds of things. Liberals, or what we consider liberals, which are most people, but liberals in the sense of the left, they are offended in all different kinds of ways. Conservatives, though, you attack Christmas, you touch anything of theirs, you attack their sacred beer. We'll get to that right now, but they're just as offended as literally the left side. The right claims to think that they're not offended, but just trust me, it's like the moment you say Merry Xmas or Happy Holidays, and these dudes go into like the biggest hissy fit on the planet about how, like, oh my god, what have they done to this country? Oh my god. So that's just one example, but yeah, it's just like, you know, like the biggest distinction I could see, or the most easiest one, was during like the whole 2016 and up to, like, you know, I think like up to, like, you know, past 2020, there was points where I would literally still see dudes, mind you. I went to San Francisco with my wife and a friend of mine, and we were out there by Haight Ashbury, so we went to the park that's right there. There's a park that's on a hill. Bunch of homeless people, man. Those guys are up to something. But yeah, a dude wearing a pussy hat, the pink knitted ones, and I was just like, wow. I thought this was a meme. You know, no self-respecting dude would wear them, but, you know, sure enough, they were wearing them. Okay, I'm getting a little off topic, but yeah, it's the left during that time, they would wear the pussy hats. At the time too, on the right, these dudes were wearing MAGA hats. It was just, you know, it's all they're all just signaling to each other what they're about, and they're just trying to tell you what they're about. And it's all basically, it is just for show, but it's mainly to see that a reaction from the other side. But nonetheless, you know, one of the things that I wanted to point out was that you hear a lot that when you don't make your own money, or at least when young people don't make their own money, they're more liberal. That's what you hear all the time. And then when they start making their own money, they're more conservative. But I think that word has been tossed around too much nowadays, because that word has has different meanings. Because right now, most people are like, they have this political trauma. Came up with something like that. I don't know if it's been used before, but they have a political trauma that when a word is being used, they always go back to the political usage of it. So this word conservative, so when people say that, yeah, that term, it's like, oh, you're more conservative once you start making your own money. I agree, and I don't, but I can see where people get the idea. They think that, oh yeah, once you have your own money, you become more conservative. You become more fiscally conservative. You're more likely to save, or try to save your own money, or try to put it to what you think is best. But it's not like you're just becoming, oh my god, man, I'm so based, man, I just have my own job, I just became red wing and red pilled, and no, it's like, I think that's what that means. So it's like, really, in reality, because conservatives, it's cliche to say, but they have not conserved anything. They have conserved nothing. they might try to actually claim that, like, they're holding on to tradition by going to church, but I really honestly think that most people that go to church, it's another part of this cultish virtue signal. So it's like, I'm telling you, man, there was a person when I was still going to church. It's like people might still consider me a Catholic, but I remember going to church with this this so-called family man. He had his own business. He had his he had a karate studio and everything. We went to we worked in the same little warehouse little complex, and sure enough, man, this guy was at church every Sunday at the front with his family. Some of the first few rows. Every time, man, he would come out, and he's a very respectable guy, but turns out that this dude was diddling kids, man. Like, this guy was like having his friend or his son's friends over, and he was doing unspeakable things with them. But I'm off topic again. But it's conservatives. Really, that's all they have is tradition, and really they don't even have really tradition, because if you notice that most conservatives, they live by the standards of liberals as well. They all want the same thing. They want houses. They want a good standard of living, so to speak. They want to, good places for their children to go to school and this crap and that. They all want to drive, nice cars. It's just one side of that coin. So when really conservatives really have nothing more different than just like religion, and even then it's like the left has religion too. It's just taken in a different form. But even then, the right's take on religion, it's an amalgamation of this so-called what I'm going to say, evangelical, everybody says Judeo-Christian. There's no such thing as Judeo-Christian. That's a psyop. Jews hate Christians and Christians love Jews, which is weird. But it's kind of funny. What was I getting on, man? The ADHD, I'm bouncing all around. But Christians take that religiosity that they have for Christianity, and they rub that on everything that they touch. So when it comes to the economy, the right-wingers and these conservatives, they worship capitalism. They worship the economy, even at their own detriment. They also worship the state. They worship every facet of government because they think that they need it, because it's one of their higher powers, so they worship it. The moment you speak out against it, it's almost like heresy to them. They can't see anything different. You just ask any conservative, like, what do we need this for? Oh, they're gonna be like, but it's almost kind of like they have amnesia right after it, because then they talk about like, oh, these taxes are so high, or all these. But I bet you if you had any bill in there that was for them, they would probably say, oh man, we need this bill for this and that. But I digress. But conservatives are very religious about everything, and that's what I'm saying. It's like they hardly even have Christianity anymore, because most of them are just slaves. They're all children of technology. Yeah, I bet you if you actually give them a choice between following Christ and keeping to His teachings, they would or a life of comfort and pleasure, and they would choose the life of comfort and pleasure, because they're just like human, like everybody else. A lot of Christian thoughts on humans is that we are we are the product of Jesus Christ, and we are above all the other beasts. But in reality, we're just animals. We're just sapient animals. We have sapiens, I guess that's the term. It's not just a sentience, because a lot of animals have sentience, but we have sapiens, I guess. But it's just funny. Conservatives can't even worship Christ the way He was supposed to be, or how you think that He was supposed to be. But that just kind of also brings me to the whole boycott of BudLight. That was kind of a joke. That was one of the things that I thought was really funny when this was happening, was that you had all these dudes getting all high and mighty over the BudLight thing, and all I thought was, oh my god, I'm glad, because me myself, I had a realization a while ago. I thought I was conservative. I thought I was a right-winger, this and that, for the longest time. But it's just like I did like a deep down, it's like I knew I wasn't a stupid freaking leftist, but like, I realized, wow, man, I'm not a conservative because the conservatives do nothing, and especially during the Bud Light boycott, you could see right off the bat that if you understand how these corporations and how this stupid system of capitalism works, you can see right off the bat that a boycott, especially of a corporation that big, which I think was what, like, one of the companies. It's owned by Anheuser-Busch. It's just, what are you gonna do? You're not even really, you dented their stocks or whatever. Bud Light was always gonna make it. They were always gonna come back after this. There's no way that these dudes, they were so blue pilled. All these like, like Kid Rock and stuff like that. They were so blue pilled and just coping so hard over. It's like all I saw during that time was like literally just alcoholism. You attacked their precious Bud Light, their precious alcohol, and they lashed out. So literally, it was just an example of mass alcoholism hysteria, because that's the only thing that the right has, really. It's like you listen to almost every country song, and it's all about drinking beer. It's literally, alcoholism is at the core of conservatism. Almost every single one of them are probably some form of alcoholic. It makes no sense. So like when the Bud Light thing kicked off, I just thought it was so stupid. I was just like, this is the hill you want to die on? This is the way you're taking your stand? I mean, there's so many things going on in the world, and literally you want to band together to show Bud Light that you don't accept Dylan Mulvaney. It was so stupid. It was, of all the things that you would want to like band together on and get together and do everything. That's another thing about the right. I just don't get that. I'm just tired of it. It's like everything that you guys decide to get on, or the right decides to get on, is so whack. Like imagine like, my respects to anybody that wants to do anything, but like literally I can't imagine being like duped into going to January 6th at the time, man. Not that I believe that, something may have happened. I don't know. I think it was everybody knows it was a honeypot. That was like a false flag. Like prime example of just like pure entrapment, man. They were just like basically like bringing them in just so that they can have this January 6th thing. But I just imagine just getting so riled up and so like patriotic that you had to go on January 6th just to watch Trump, the Trump rally. I would just like, I don't know, man. I can't see myself getting that crazy and just like going on this tirade about like, oh, taking back America, and this is a 1776 moment. I think it's, I'm over that kind of crap, man. It's just, I think that a lot of people have different lifestyles that they want to push, and I think that's one of them. Because you see a lot of these dudes that get into guns. Because me myself, I'm into firearms, but I don't follow down that rabbit hole of dudes that, that start wearing the grunt style tees. That's all they wear. That's their personality. They just wear grunt style tees, and they drink Black Rifle coffee, and it's just, they're just consumers. They just conformed to one lifestyle. And a lot of these 1776 dudes that think that, that they're the militia, and it's like, I like Colion Noir, and I like his messaging, but it's like, bro, you're not the militia. It's like, I mean, that's technically what it was entailed for, was the Second Amendment was entailed for, but it's like, when are you actually going to defend, when are you actually going to use those rifles that you have that the Second Amendment, supposedly protects? When are you going to start using that against your domestic enemies? They're all over the place, and it's just a lifestyle. So it's like, I don't understand, man. It just makes no sense that all of these people, they're just consumers at the end of the day. Being a conservative really means nothing unless you actually live by those words. And and it's like, just fighting for alcohol. It's just alcoholism. It's just stupid. So it's like, I don't know, man. It's I don't know, dude. Blech.